Okay. We're all linked.
Great. Good, we're in. We're back to it.
Yes.
Hey.
Okay. Welcome to the Mr. Grey film. Oh, can you shut the door, please?
Nice start. Brilliant.
Yeah, sure. Man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Cool.
Yeah,
Sweet.
Sound effects for you guys.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't actually get up and shut the door. That cost £2.50, so already off on the production value here.
Smooth as ever.
Right. Okay, welcome to the Mr. Grey film show. It's been ages since we
Yeah,
did one of
it's
these, isn't it?
been-
For like 6 months or something?
A little over, yeah. It was January when we talked about Revenant and The Hateful Eight.
Was it? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That is going back now.
Oh, those were good films.
They
Weren't
were.
They were great. Oh, I've not seen a film like that in not
6
this
or
week.
7 months.
Not this week.
I said at the time, Revenant was the best film of the year. Well, I'm halfway through and I'm still happy with that decision.
I've had a couple of challenges, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah.
All right, so this week I'm joined by Mr. Peter Cox. Hello, Pete.
Hi.
And Mr. Tom Taylor. Hello, Tom.
Shazam.
How are we all?
We're
Yeah,
all
good.
hungover, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm hungover.
Yeah.
You're hungover.
Yep.
You're hungover.
Oh, no, I'm fine, man. I'm
Otherwise-
rising above it.
Otherwise, good. I'm skating below it. I'm skating, so that's active. So that's
Yeah, you're good. So,
Yeah, so we watched some films. They were the Purge election year
Yep.
and
Sausage pie.
Sausage Party. Wasn't that
A film.
technically in a cinema?
Well, it was
Yeah.
exactly in the same.
Okay, so shall we start off with the Purge election year, since that was the furthest time ago?
Yeah, let's certainly.
Or
do
he's
that.
playing with his phone, even
Yeah.
though that's the device we're recording on.
Yeah, but
All
it's
is
fine because
going well
I
still.
think recording is still happening.
Pull down from the top. Let's see.
You're recording on. and then
Fantastic.
happening.
look at us
Alright.
learning as we go.
We learn as we
Yeah.
go.
God, baby steps, guys.
Cool. So, well, since you've got it all
Yeah.
in front of you, what's Purge the election year and who's in it?
It's the third film in the Purge franchise, which is written and directed by James DeMonico, who's actually done all three, which is kind of odd because they're very different from one another. It feels like they're different movies, sort of from different viewpoints and perspectives, but it's all one guy's vision so far.
Yeah.
Well,
what's the premise of the movie?
Yeah,
So the,
yeah.
the premise of the film is for 12 hours, one night a year, murder, all crime. All crime is legal, including murder. It tends to focus pretty much on murder.
Yeah, it does.
It becomes very much about killing other people.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the best one, isn't
Yeah.
it?
The best one.
Yeah. Nobody goes, oh, I've got 12 hours to do a bit of fraud.
Yeah.
No.
Watch me
I'm
park
gonna
on that
print
double
some
yellow.
money.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, everyone just goes straight for killing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Which-
true.
It's meant as a sort of, well, the first one, that was kind of a high concept way of sort of pulling some of the conveniences out of home invasion horror. The first one was just, it's some guys breaking into someone's house. Why don't you call the police? Because it doesn't matter. It was kind of
Yeah.
a weirdly high concept way of getting around that argument.
Yeah.
So it felt like it wasn't used.
I liked the first one. I thought it was good.
Thanks.
I know that you disagree.
Terrible film, but
Yeah?
there we go. Yeah, hate it.
I liked it. I liked Ethan Hawke in it. I thought his turnaround character. It wasn't great, and it was pretty simplistic as the character goes. You know, he was selfish to begin with. Then he becomes more selfish as he's put in danger, and then he manages to turn himself around. And then, spoiler alert, he dies. Yeah.
I feel that the first Purge movie out of the three is the only one I'm really qualified to talk about because I haven't seen it. So it's a highly entertaining film about dietary purging. Basically, people go on to quite an intense juice diet.
Oh.
Right. Well, this is the film that I envisioned anyway.
These are all lies. And yeah.
I'm giving that one a B+ out of 5.
Okay.
It's good to know.
Well,
Good job. Good job.
But the election year.
Yeah, this comes after Anarchy, which came out 2 years ago, which kind of moved from the home invasion style of film one into a more on the streets riff on kind of a bit of a John Carpenter vibe, with Escape from New York being a key reference, where Frank Grillo's character, who's named Sergeant, I think,
Is he?
Yeah, he's a policeman as well.
Yeah.
What rank did he hold with the police?
Misk. He's out and about on the streets, helping people that he doesn't particularly want to help, while he's on a bit of a vengeance kick in the second movie to get the guy who killed his son on a previous purge. And it's...
No, that guy just drunk drove into his son and then he got off on some bullshit cop out charge. But he didn't. That guy wasn't a murderer. He didn't murder his son in front of him.
All right. Okay.
Just to be fair to the character.
All right. Yeah, who has no bearing on the film we're going to talk about now.
No.
Eventually. So yeah, now election year is the third one. It kind of carries over the same format as film 2, but well, with the added sort of twist or sort of selling point of election year. It's obviously a big year for the States with Trump versus Clinton.
Who?
Trump.
No idea.
No,
not heard it.
No.
Don't know. Is he a nice guy? Are they both very good candidates and we're all happy about them being our two options? I'm sure we are.
But he makes an excellent steak.
He looks like an excellent baked bean in a wig.
That's harsh. To baked beans.
Yes.
Anyway, if we disappear down this alley, we won't come back.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I think this one's been tailored around that, so it's got a bit more of a political sort of angle going on in there, but mainly it's quite a trashy ride, perhaps even more so than they were previously.
Trashy.
I'd say it's every bit as trashy as previous. I mean, they're complete trash. It's tough to get trashier, really. Yeah, they're one of the main characters is up for president of America, and she wants to get rid of the Purge, and the new founding fathers who invented the Purge and are the current ruling establishment, they dislike her, so they send an assault team to go kill her on Purge night, which is totally legal.
Yes. But fortunately, Frank Grillo, who was in film 2,
Mr. Sergeant,
now 20 years later is the same age and now in the Secret Service, is there to help her out. And they kind of get into similar scrapes as film 2 in the fact that their story intersects with another bunch of characters who are just trying to survive the night, which is where you get Mackenzie Williamson as Joe Dixon, the deli owner, trying to protect his family business from some girls who want to steal candy. Seriously.
Yeah, they really want to.
Yeah.
Sexy schoolgirls. They can't.
Well, they're so unsexy and terrible actresses, all of them. The main one in particular.
Given it a whirl, though. I didn't.
I mean, she didn't have a great script to be working with here, but
no, I think you can't blame the actors for that. I think they tried their utter best.
It was gung ho, and it's not exactly tongue in cheek, but it's of a style. I mean, the whole dialogue throughout the film is very hammy, but it's knowingly so. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this film. I'm going to put that out there, that this is, of the three, my one, and one I would think I'll be coming back to the most.
This is my problem with the film, and the dialogue comes into it in a big way, is they are not dealing with but referencing big issues. The Trump-Clinton election is quite a big thing going on. There's going to be important ramifications for a lot of people. You've got the Black Lives Matter movement. You've got the way they kind of treat immigration into America. And in your film, you have a woman who basically comes across like a self-righteous nutter up against a much more self-righteous nutter in the form of the founding fathers. So it's Trump versus Clinton, and you've got this backdrop, but they just don't do anything serious with it. And they deal with it in a very stereotypical way. So the white guys are pretty much, all of them are Nazi nutters. You only really meet two white people in the film who aren't horrific to everybody, and that's the lady and Sergeant. Yeah. You then meet your small black group, one of which is living the American dream, but did used to be a gang member back in the day. And you've got your Mexican, who constantly refers to Mexico as, it's just like the Purge, but every night. And I'm trying to get out of it and do
Yeah, I mean, in the universe of the Purge, how awful is Mexico?
Yeah, how bad?
Because in real life, Mexico's fine. It's quite poor, but, you can walk down the streets without getting murdered. It happens. but in this film, he's constantly referring it to as, yeah, you're right. It was the Purge every day.
Yeah. It paints quite a stereotypical image of everybody, and then does nothing with it.
So you say
I think it
sort of
does
builds to
work
a
with what
point that it never really makes, you think?
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree.
I
I think it
think
has got stuff to say, and I think in years to come, whilst not a masterpiece by any means, it's going to be one of those films that is indicative of the times in a way. The way that trashy films of like the 70s and 80s, which this is heavily aping, in hindsight, people go, oh, well, yeah, Dawn of the Dead, talking about consumerism, things like that, where it's not, if you watch it, it's not done in a very subtle or really thoughtful way, but it is commenting on that sort of thing, and people, I think it's going to be one of those things where people look back and go, oh yeah, maybe not super fondly, this isn't a film for the ages, but I think it'll be one of those little footnote movies of like, oh yeah, that was talking about things like Black Lives Matter.
Do you think back in the 70s when they made Day of the Dead, though, it was difficult to get people to talk and think about these sort of things, and it wasn't in the common consciousness, and people weren't watching clips on YouTube constantly of different political points of view, and people weren't discussing politics in the same way that we are now. So in order to get people
I think people absolutely were, just not through the different outlets and media sort of ways that we have at the moment. I think there was still political debate and discussion, and I mean there was all sorts going on.
But was it being discussed by the sort of audience who went to go watch a Romero film?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was in the consciousness.
So
I don't know,
was it ever necessary to be doing that in the context of an incredibly violent and stupid movie? Not that Day of the Dead is violent and stupid, but it is violent and over the top. And that is a sort of a way to get people to talk about it and think about it, by putting it to them in this.
Oh yeah, in a package that they're gonna like go do. That's that's part of what exploitation film is. You sell that you're going to give sort of sex or violence or something, and you use that as a platform to talk about something. And I think most films should have some sort of political side to them, if it's sexual politics or sort of actual sort of day to day sort of between parties and then geographical politics. I think it's worth having something to talk about in your film, and I think that Election Year does. My main sort of argument for that is that during this entire process, where, as you say, the good guys and the people we're supposed to root for are all, to a large degree, from minorities working together. Mackenzie Williamson's Joe Dixon knows a woman who works on Purge night in a triage team. She's out there being a paramedic when the paramedics aren't. And towards the 2/3 of the way through the film, we actually go back to base camp and see this triage centre. And that's kind of emblematic for me of what the film, if anything, is trying to say. Is that in the face of things like the Purge, which itself is sort of a broad and sort of tacky manifestation of reactionary politics and sort of the Trump line, the best course of resource of coming against that is to be compassionate and sympathetic and to listen to each other and help one another. It's not to attack. Even the finale is kind of not about killing everybody, even though it becomes a gun fest. Yeah. It really does, and it's one of the things that I think does pull the film down.
Yeah, well, in the end, spoiler, the protagonist, blonde white lady, what's she called?
She is called
Megyn Kelly.
Senator.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Anyway, the lady who wants to be president.
Hillary Hinton.
Yeah. So she basically goes to this place where they're taking care of the people who can't take care of themselves on Purge night. And this is also set up by an anarchist group who are planning an assassination of the founding fathers, or the new founding fathers. Mm-hmm. And she is saying, no, you cannot kill them because that martyrs them and proves that their point that we need to murder and defile each other and treat each other like shit because that's our nature. But if we show them compassion and we get them out through democratic means,
Yeah.
then we
Restraint.
are better than them, and that's how we truly defeat them. By killing them, we become them.
Which is nonsense, of course.
Yeah, we should just kill them. Yeah.
Would have been so much quicker. and
Yeah.
easier than
I don't know. I feel like it's a heavy-handed message the film gives out, and I think it's very much preaching to the choir. I don't think anybody who watches that film has their opinion on any matter changed. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth talking about and it's not a point worth making. I just think it's preaching to the choir. But then in this day and age I hate saying in this day and age, but I just did it. But yeah,
Well,
there's so much out there. Everybody's already listening, and everyone's already got their opinion set in stone almost. So it's hard. No, it's not that it's not worth trying to change everyone's mind. Of course we should, but I don't know. To get any kind of attention, you have to preach to the choir, pretty much.
I'm not saying the film is subtle or overly successful in its attempt.
I
but
don't
it
think
is
even
there.
its director or writer would try and say that
No,
that
they
it was
don't know.
subtle.
Well,
I
no.
was just saying that it
That's
is there, and
Yeah.
I doff my cap to the film for even trying
Even
to have
try.
a discussion in what is a very successful Hollywood franchise.
True, they've made their money. Can we talk about the offensive comments that are made by some of our lead characters? I think in this film you have obviously black people being put down upon, the poor are being put down upon, anybody with freedom and liberty put down upon. But nobody gets it as hard as the cocksuckers. Now, in life, if you have a cock, you want somebody to suck it. We should celebrate cocksuckers. They got a really bad rap in this movie.
Yeah.
I personally, I think they just went way overboard with
Yeah.
the cocksuckers attack. It was like an episode of Deadwood. It was.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
It was like they kept going back to it. Oh, you cocksucker! Fuck you, cocksucker! Goddamn effing cocksucker! Is this how they
Totally
finished the
blind.
sentence?
They're
just
not going.
No.
I must admit, I
Didn't
do
stop
remember them using cocksucker as a put down, but
And
you
a lot.
fixated on it quite a bit there.
It happened a lot.
It happened a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What stayed with you? It's what stayed with you.
It is what stayed with me. The other thing that stayed with me is just how awful Mr. Sargent is at being security.
Oh yeah, he's piss
So-
poor.
At the beginning of the movie,
Men here.
Yeah.
Put men in that room. Let's have men down there. I
Not
was
for-
laughing at that, but
not for cocksucking either.
No.
He just wanted all those men.
he just
Yeah.
wanted men in rooms. Put men in rooms. That room, less men.
But so at the beginning of the movie, we find out that basically at this purge night they've changed the laws so that even high-level politicians can be murdered this time round, which is nice for them because it gives them the opportunity to assassinate their
Charlie
rival.
Roan. That's her stupid name. Carry on.
Excellent. So they basically try to fortify her house. She doesn't want to go into a properly secure building because then people will think she's running scared. So they try to give her as much protection as home as possible. And by doing this, they end up locking themselves into a bit of a room that they then have to escape from when they get attacked. To escape from the attack, the security officer detonates a small bomb that he had smuggled in to the secure room that only he knew about. So this guy who is head of security, supposed to stop bombs coming in, brings the bomb in with him. Doesn't tell
You
anybody.
have one job.
Yeah. What was if somebody else found that?
Yeah.
You didn't hide it that fine. It was just in the
Was it? Yeah, and he detonated it with his phone. Somebody else could have just found out the number. They didn't need a SWAT team. They could have just dialed a phone number. She'd have been dead.
Yeah, and there are little conveniences in it that niggled me as well.
At one
People
point
knowing stuff that they had no business knowing, like that they'd shot someone in a particular place, or even when like the deli guys go to help out the senator and the Secret Service guy, that they know that's who that is, despite the fact that they're surrounded by a crowd and you can't see who the crowd are attacking. They're like, let's go and save them. It's like, how did you know it was them? There's little things like that throughout it. So yeah, it's not without its problems. I'm not trying to say this is a modern masterpiece, but I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You can't say it wasn't fun. I had a good time.
Williamson eats up his dialogue that he's given. Some of it's very hammy, very cheesy. Very...
Is he Bubba Gump?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I like black people, but don't you be killing these white people. These white people are our white people.
And there's something else about a bucket of chicken that runs very close to stereotypes, but it kind of gets away with it just because of the tone.
Yeah. Did you guys know that a Crip whistle was a thing?
I do now.
The former gang member explained it to me.
Yeah. So yeah, all right. Well, that's the Purge Anarchy. It was a lot of fun. It does have a point to make, which it makes somewhat ham-fistedly, but it knows it's doing it ham-fistedly and it doesn't care, and that's okay. So yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. Election year is. It's the better of the three for me. It kind of rounds it off, suggesting that that's the closing of a trilogy, which feels kind of odd.
No, it doesn't. It leaves it completely open at the end for a sequel.
Oh, brilliant. Well...
Did you not see? At the end, the election is held a couple months after the evening.
Spoilers, but...
Oh, yeah. By the way, we spoil all the films. So she wins the election a couple months later.
Yeah.
After the climax of the film. And then she says, "Oh, I'm going to get rid of the Purge," but then there's already riots in the South over "We don't want you to get rid of our Purge," which is actually very much like what Trump said should happen if Hillary gets elected president. Fourth Amendment people, you can stop her trying to take your guns away.
Yeah, which was something that
second.
Struck me.
Second. It's like the second thing you do. What's the First Amendment?
No, the second thing you do is nobody's allowed guns unless you're part of a well-organised militia. And then everybody just misreads it. Great.
Well, anyway, so the film sets itself up for a sequel. And I think very much that the sequel is going to be she as president, her bill to ban the Purge is going to pass. And it has passed, but it won't take effect until after this year's Purge. And then that will be assault on the White House, and I'm looking forward to that. And I want the same director who did
House Down?
who did not White House Down. Olympus Has Fallen.
Oh,
Olympus Has Fallen has the best White House assault I've ever seen. That 15-minute period is incredible.
Which is the one where the president
15 minutes of film.
in the Beast.
That's White House Down.
And they lean out of a rocket launcher.
Yeah, that's
the one with
no
Channing
good.
Tatum
Channing
threatening a squirrel in his first scene.
Yeah. Oh man, that movie, Jesus.
No, that's a bad film. But Olympus Has Fallen is a good ish film. London Has Fallen is god awful.
No, worse than
but Olympus Has Fallen is okay, but has a very good 15-minute section.
I think, if anything, and I see what you're saying about them taking the Purge for another one. I kind of feel like between this and Anarchy, they've kind of done with the run through the city swipe.
Well, it'll be back to home invasion then, won't it? But on a much bigger scale.
Do something in the sticks or something. Yeah, take it down to the south or something. I don't know. I just feel like he can't get away with doing another Escape from New York / Assault from Precinct 13 riff.
It's going to be home invasion on a much bigger scale because the home is the White House. I'm looking forward to this film. I think it'll be the best of the four.
Wow!
I'm predicting it now. I'm going to put a pound on it now.
Ooh,
best of the four.
I wasn't really taken with the series before this one. I mean, I've said in reviews of Anarchy that it's a series that doesn't have a signature theme not theme, but a signature film. It's a franchise that's come about because it was accidentally successful, so let's make more of them. But for the first time, I was kind of very much on board, and I'm up for another one when they do it.
Yeah, why not?
I'm going to disagree. I didn't like that film.
Didn't like any of them?
No.
Oh, you didn't
didn't do it
election year?
There were parts of it that I liked and I appreciated moments in the movie, but in general, I found it ham-fisted.
Yeah.
It is.
I didn't connect. I connected with Joe a little bit, but then he also came out with some amazing bits of terrible dialogue. And just as a passing note, if a man is constantly fixated between waffles and pussy,
Oh God.
he does not have a one-track mind. It's clearly 2 tracks.
Unless he
Yeah,
wants
that-
his waffles on his pussy or his pussy on his waffles.
Still 2 items, man.
It's
That
still
was
2
a-
items.
that was a
And does he want
cringeworthy
syrup?
one.
Of course, you can't have pussy without syrup.
So what's your score?
What's the ratio this time round?
Oh yeah.
How many
Oh,
watts out of what?
I don't know.
How many Black Lives Matters?
No, I don't know what I'd be saying if I said that.
That'd be bad, wouldn't it? Oh god.
I really don't know. How many numbers out of 5? You put me on the spot,
Yeah.
and I can't think of anything. So, how many numbers out of 5?
Just 1.
1.
Wow.
If you've got a spare time, watch the movie. Watch other films first. But it's okay. I don't hate it. I definitely don't love it. But
All right, Pete.
It's 3.5 for me.
Yeah.
I'll watch it again. It's trashy, it's messy, it's ugly, it's not an attractive film to look at, but it had charm for me. I do like sort of films of its ilk, so yeah, I'll get back to it, and I think there is enough there.
Yeah, I enjoyed it enough at the time. I did not think about it once the next day. It did not stay with me, or its point didn't hammer home, didn't make me think about anything other than this is stupid. But in the time I had fun, so I'd give it 3. Why not? So yeah, that's the Purge election year. Wait for the sequel, which will be great.
Purge that one from my memory.
Oh, very good.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, we're
More.
back.
Back in the room.
Back from the break we didn't introduce.
Or
Oh, yeah.
particularly have.
No, yeah, it's been about 2 minutes. Okay, so next film, Sausage Party.
Ain't no
yeah.
party like. Well, really,
Ain't
there
no
isn't.
party
I
like
haven't seen anything
No, I've
like
never
that.
seen a film like that before.
Hell no. It kept reminding me of Food Fight. There were little moments in it where I kept going back to Food Fight. And even the opening shot, the establishing shot of the film, where it's an empty car lot looking at a supermarket just about turning on in the morning. It's like, yeah, that's Food Fight right there.
Yeah.
But it is a lot better than Food Fight.
Oh.
It's not of that level. This is a polished
This was
film.
an actual film.
Film?
Food Fight was just a
Film?
mistake.
Yeah, Food
It's
Fight
a
was a
film.
mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like an accounting error
Do
or
we need
something.
to explain what Food Fight is?
No, let's not get into
No,
Food
not
Fight.
get
No,
into
let's
Food Fight.
just
Look it
leave
up.
Food Fight where it is.
Look it up and then don't watch it.
Like,
Charlie Sheen and the racist squirrel.
Those that know,
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And nobody else needs to.
There are sexual references in Food Fight which are deeply uncomfortable. These
None
ones,
of that in this.
these ones seem gratuitous, and you go, "Oh, really?" But in Food Fight, you go, "Oh my god," because this is a kids' film, and you shouldn't be saying that. But Sausage Party, not for kids.
Not for kids.
Not
no,
for
at all.
kids. No, I saw an advert on the screen of a cinema, not the screen, but the doors of a cinema, saying, "Hey parents, do not take your children to see Sausage Party. It is not for children. It is not Finding Dory. Take them to see something else."
It really isn't Finding Dory.
No,
Um,
or any kids.
No, this is the brainchild of Seth Rogen and others.
I heard a little bit about how they wrote it, which was about 10, 15 years ago. They all got baked and just sat around in sort of American diners, stoned, eating pancakes, and then hashing out shit ideas and writing them on napkins. I remember doing that back when we were in college.
Yeah,
That's how we wrote our films, and that's why we didn't do very well in college, or because, or follow through with any of those
Guys,
things.
where are your millions?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
I mean, clearly we should have followed through because
Yeah, you can end up making a film like this or Tusk, which I think came out of the
this similar thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tusk was brilliant.
Well,
This was
Tusk.
interesting.
Now you hate Tusk,
Fuck Tusk.
and you and I love Tusk
Yeah.
because you and I watched Tusk while we were very, very high.
Do
And
you
I
that's
think
the difference?
I think that is the key difference. I've not watched it since,
Mm.
and I think if we watched it stone cold sober, as we watch
God,
Sausage
no.
Party, we would not feel as affectionate towards it.
Maybe I think I've come round to Sausage Party in the last. It's been about an hour or so since we left the cinema.
Yeah.
It's kind of filtered through my brain a little bit, and I'm going with positive feelings for Sausage Party. There's a lot to dislike, but there's a lot to love about this film.
A lot to
Yeah.
love.
I reckon there's a lot to love about this film.
Wow, okay. So, general premise for anyone who doesn't know, food believes that once it is purchased from the supermarket and then taken home, it is going to the great beyond, or heaven, and it will have a fantastic time. All food is sentient but cannot be observed in its movements or voice or actions in any way by human beings.
Yeah.
Even if it runs away, it is perceived as just rolling away
I
or
think-
falling down.
Yeah.
The film kind of establishes it as
Poorly.
it's on a different plane of reality.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
although food and humans exist in the same reality, they are on different levels of it.
Mm.
So
But
food is food in a supermarket, and you're a person, you buy the food, you eat the food. But to the food in the supermarket, you're the gods, and they're all their own individual characters.
Mm. But then they get into the home of the person who just bought them, and then she peels a potato and eats some carrots, and everybody starts freaking out because obviously they're being brutally murdered. A bit like Attack on Titan or something.
Yeah, there was some really strong feelings towards that because the people are ginormous, obviously, compared to the food, and they're skinning them and they're biting them. Yeah, loved that moment in the lady's kitchen
Loved.
when she started peeling the potato. And
The
dropped
word
it in.
loved is coming out
Yeah,
again.
no, I'm feeling far more positive about this film
Yeah?
than what I talk about. I'm going to regret this later. Once I calm down a little bit, but I know I enjoyed that. It had me laughing, and it was stupid. Like there was the swearing was way above board. There's just no need to put that many swear
unnecessary.
words into a sentence. It sounded like Adam Sandler had a fair amount to do with the script in that way, but I don't think he had any part.
He had
in the
nothing
film,
to do with this.
It could have been his brainchild.
It easily could have.
Yeah, a lot of the time the swearing was the joke. The fact that someone was saying shit or fuck or cunt, that was what was funny, and I think that's not so great. I expect better from the people involved, you know.
Yeah, Edward Norton is a significant voice in this.
Yeah.
It just feels like a tarnish on his own reputation. It really does. I can't be as positive as you about this one, I'm afraid, Tom. The first time that it was meant to be funny that a cartoon about food was swearing, it didn't land for me.
No.
First time I was like, oh, that's not funny. And then that was nearly the only joke for me.
Yeah, I agree.
It was hard work.
The swearing and the bad language and the crudeness of it all was its least funny element. Its least successful part was the crudeness. And I think
it is unrelenting. It's exceedingly misogynistic, which is it's par for the course with some of the previous stuff these guys have done. Those elements have always been there in things like Knocked Up, which is a good film, but they previously have form, but this felt like a super baked version of that. I think is probably the apt word. It was very intense and very aggressive.
Yeah, and so loud and in your face the whole time. Yeah.
I think every character is sort of turned up to 11 when it really
strong
could
stereotypes.
have done with a few characters being about 4 or 5.
Yeah, I thought the Jewish bagel and
that's
the
Edward
Israeli
Norton.
flatbread.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole thing is actually an allegory or metaphor. I'm never sure which is correct.
Alafor.
Melaphory.
Yeah, metaphor.
A mellifluory.
Yeah. For religion and how we all just can't get along or understand each other's points of view.
It's incredibly preachy,
ironically.
for a film that basically takes all religion as bad.
It done that aggressive atheism thing.
Yeah,
But also it did make a point about how you can't blanket dismiss people's religions, but not
Whilst
because
doing that.
yeah, but not because they're wrong, because people won't accept it and they'll
Yeah.
freak out.
You
So
won't
it's
win
not
the fight,
really
yeah.
saying that atheists who dismiss religion are wrong. It's just saying that they should be a bit
Bit more tactful
more
about it.
tactful and patient about it. You know, the religious people will see sense eventually. You just have to ease them into it. I don't see how this film is easing anyone into anything.
No, subtlety is
No.
not a watchword that this film goes
No.
by. So you've got Frank, who's the main character, Frankfurter, voiced by Seth Rogen, and was it Kristen Wiig is
No, she's the bun.
the
Now,
bun.
okay, now she is a bread roll.
Yeah,
She is called Brenda,
yeah.
not Bredner. Now that is the film's biggest mistake, in my opinion. He's called Frank,
Which
which
is-
is a play on Frankfurter, and she is called Bredner,
Oh.
play on bread.
Yeah,
How is that not a thing?
no.
So angry about that.
Was Frank's a name?
So, huh?
Yeah.
Bredner isn't a name.
But Bredner's so close to a name, and it could have been this subtle thing where you're like, he keeps calling her Bredner, right? Yeah, I am hearing Bredner, right? And it could have been, it could have slowly dawned on you. Like maybe you didn't even get it till the 10th time you heard him say it. But
Or even
This
Bunny.
film's never going to do that.
People are called Bunny, admittedly American dipshits, but Bunny's a name. Could have gone with that.
no, I don't like that.
No,
No,
okay.
awful idea, Pete. Terrible.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I can't possibly muster up anything in comparison to
That was
this.
definitely better than Bredner.
Hey, now come on, Bredner. God damn. Anyway,
There's
before
no
the whole
consistency to that because other
Yeah.
characters have just called things like Carl.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody else has got a normal name.
Yeah.
There's a couple of like bang like Frank and things like
And Douche.
that. Douche, the douche.
Douche is a douche, and he is the antagonist.
Yeah, also it's not just food which
No,
is
it's just
sentient. It's
anything.
any item which you can purchase in a shop. But
Didn't we all love an anthropomorphized used condom?
Oh, there were moments in this movie.
the whole audience went, oh, when that happened.
Yeah.
You could actually hear everybody. It was quiet, but you were aware that everybody had done it. They'd gone, oh.
That wasn't something I thought I needed to see or ever would, but it's happened. Just gotta move on.
Yeah.
The line was adopted him at that point.
Mhm.
There was a lot of other moments in the film where kind of people do disgusting things. The toilet roll, obviously, but you didn't actually see it happening. Whereas with the used condom, you are talking to the mouth of a used condom. and it's like-
With jizz in it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was covering that with used.
Yeah.
God, that was a moment indeed. But I think this film lives in that kind of high times category. It's a Cheech and Chong. It's a Harold and Kumar movie. It's not a buddy movie, but it's that
Oh yeah, it's
Pineapple
not
Express.
meant to be
Hmm.
anything more
stoner
than what
comedy
it is.
kind of thing. And I think I hate those movies. Pineapple Express was the closest one to being passable, and I didn't really enjoy that one either. But this I could sit through again.
So yeah, rewatch is something I do think about sometimes when I'm watching a film.
Mm.
Would I come back to this? Absolutely not in this instance. It goes for shock value, but it doesn't have really much underneath that. I think watching it again, knowing what's coming, it would have less impact. Like the orgy scene towards the end.
Yeah, that
Yeah, so the film ends, the climax of it is that they actually kill
Load of people.
all the humans in the supermarket. Okay, so at some point it's established that if you inject yourself with bath salts, which I guess is supposed to be heroin, I don't know why they don't say heroin, but they say bath salts instead. It's like a weird line to not cross.
Yeah.
So here's where we draw the line. We
Yeah.
can't say heroin.
They're literally smoking weed,
Yeah.
but no.
Yeah.
But we can have Nazi food.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess as soon as you put drugs in a film, it has to be an 18, right?
Yeah,
Heroin. If you
'cause-
inject heroin in a film, it's an 18. They didn't want to do that, so
But
they say it's bath salts.
pot
Which is,
smoking all the way through it. So
yeah, but I
drug-
think
drug
but
use is in
pot smoking is legal in certain parts of America. It's not injecting. It's not intravenous. So anyway, so if you inject yourself with bath salts, as one is wanting to do, you then cross the dimensional whatever,
bridge, so you
Yeah.
can see all the food.
all the
chatting
food
to each
Yeah,
other.
sentient. So
breaks down the
then,
lines of
yeah.
reality.
So then they melt some bath salts, dip some cocktail sticks in them, and then
Yeah.
use them use them as arrows and shoot them into all the people in the supermarket. And then there's a big fight scene.
Yeah, a food fight.
A food fight.
Yeah.
And they end up killing every human in the supermarket, which is just glossed over fine. In fact, well, not glossed over, it's dealt with relish. It's good to kill people, it's fun.
Well, they're given a choice, aren't they? Which is,
It's kill or be killed.
yeah, you basically, as a food character in the film, you are fed this line, which is the morning song. Every morning when the supermarket opens, starts off with a corner cob singing a nice old song
About the gods and how
about the
great
gods
they are.
and
how
wonderful
the
life is in the beyond.
The
and so
great
on and so
beyond
forth.
is brilliant, yeah.
And your choice is you can go back to that and living in this idyllic
Live in
thing
ignorance, yeah.
and then having that torn down at the moment of the ending, where you get bought and then you're as food tortured or cooked, or you can live in the reality of knowing that that's going to happen and you can't do anything about it. And those are the two options. So the food done the only logical thing: kill all the humans.
Yeah, kill your own gods.
Mm.
And then have a giant fuckfest,
Yeah.
which was gratuitous and went on for ages,
I
and
couldn't-
was actually one of the most fun bits of the film.
just because of
was
the
funny.
weirded out shock value of it. I
Mm,
think.
it's like,
Just-
why is this happening? It's continuing on and on.
It was during that I put myself in the position of an animator. I was watching the film thinking, this is a craft that takes being meticulous and patient and dedicated to. You've got to be making just a couple of frames, like a couple of seconds at most a day.
Yeah.
So everything has to be adjusted and corrected and just so.
Mm.
And being in that job and probably having worked on a number of big Hollywood CG cartoons before it, doing that, being in the room doing that for probably days, weeks on end, probably a whole team just dedicated to the fuckfest ending. You're going to be questioning the product that you're part of. I don't know.
Well, let's go back to the director. Now, his previous works
Oh yeah,
were largely Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yep.
Now, you may remember Thomas the Tank Engine as being stop frame animation. That is no longer the case. It is all CG these days. And I'm thinking that director knows and likes to work with his animation team. He's brought those people over from Thomas the Tank Engine and he's brought them to Sausage Party, at the end of which there is a 5-minute fuckfest scene where a taco straps a frankfurter onto herself as a strap-on, and then fucks a bagel played by Edward Norton as an overly Jewish bagel through a hot dog and into an Israeli flatbread.
Yes.
And they're all having a wonderful time.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a sight to behold. It's one of the more dynamic images in the film. The animation is fine. It's sort of basic, but it's not crap.
It's not Pixar blow you away, is it?
No, it's
Yeah.
Dixar. You know, notice that?
Very Dixar.
Yeah. But it does its job. Some things are textured, other things not so much. But everything looks it doesn't look shoddy, really.
No, not at all. I mean, especially not compared to Food Fight.
And it had a nice flow. The pacing was constant.
Yeah, it was paced well. There wasn't a slow bit, was there?
You went on through the movie. I didn't get lost. There's moments in Food Fight in particular about what am I looking? What's going on?
Yeah,
What
what's
on earth is
happening?
here?
Who's this character?
Yeah.
Why are they doing this thing?
Never felt like that in this movie. I think it was.
It reminded me of
It
Toy
worked.
Story 3 quite a bit in like the toys and that realizing
There
what
were the
happens.
sexual references.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. The douche in an ass is straight out of Toy Story 3. But no, that sense of because it is the third one where the toys find out about sort of that they might just end up on the scrap people burned and
Going into the incinerator.
yeah. So it did remind me of that a little bit. Not as good. For
No.
me.
Hey, now that's a hard thing to be as good as Toy Story.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
no. Yeah, this is Dixar versus Pixar.
Yeah.
It's incredibly crass. It's trying to be as offensive as it can be. I think it's trying to get points on that. It just doesn't have enough underneath that to make that seem clever or really
I
acceptable.
don't think it was maliciously offensive, though. I think it's genuinely them trying to make themselves laugh, and I can't dislike them for that. You know, I think they are reading the scripts and laughing. They're watching the film at premiere night and they're going, "This was good. I'm glad we did this. I don't care what anybody else feels. If they like it, great, and if they don't, we still made ourselves laugh." And I think that's great.
There's a lot of self-pleasure in there.
Yeah.
I think doing it when I made this, but that's fine. I enjoyed the movie enough for that to be fine for me. I want to talk about a little moment in the movie, happens towards the beginning, where one of the characters has been taken out and then returned to the store because he's honey mustard, and the guy wants mustard.
Danny McBride, I think, was the voice of Honey Mustard.
Perfectly well played. I think if you stripped the swear words out of it, that would have probably been like 5 seconds worth of dialogue from that character. It was a lot of swearing. But he goes back, he's put back on the shelf, and he's freaking out because he's seen what happens to food when it leaves the shop. They then get bought and they're put in, and for the second time he's now leaving the store and he panics. He wants to end it all. So he jumps off the cart, commits suicide, and this leads to a big trolley-related incident where a bag of flour gets dropped and it explodes everywhere. You then cut to like it was Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, it was.
It was the beach moment at Saving Private Ryan. Where, your character Frank is kind of looking around him. He's covered in flour. There's bits of other food products all over it. Other containers are leaking and dying
with all its innards coming out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I thought that was really quite good.
I thought that was very good as well. Yeah.
Tickled me a lot because
the bit with the Oreo picking up its own back.
Yeah.
It's like in the exact moment in Saving Private Ryan, where there's a guy just calmly picking up his arm and then looking around as if, is someone going to tell me what I should do with my own back?
That was one of the better things. Bracketing that at the other end of the film is another pointed film reference where Gum gets shot.
Yep.
And it even uses the sound from T2, and it fully references the T1000. Sort of repairing itself with its liquid metal thing with this piece of gum that's kind of like Stephen Hawking.
Yeah,
it's exactly like Stephen.
Yeah.
Well, it's not exactly like Stephen Hawking. It's meant to be exactly like Stephen Hawking.
And I thought that was probably the best moment in the movie for me, was that visual nod.
There was another great film reference where the douche is chasing the other characters down a corridor. It's getting smaller, so it ends in a gap, and the bung gets stuck, and she just manages to get pulled in. The douche can't get through, and he's it's a line from the Wizard of Oz. Ah, my pretties! I can't remember the line now. Jesus, that's good timing for that.
Yeah, goodbye.
There was a line. It was on the tip of my tongue, and I started explaining the sequence, and then forgot the quote. You can look it up.
Good job.
Thanks.
Bailing.
Yeah.
Bailing on that one.
Bailing. Can you tell us the film that it was from?
Yeah, it's Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
The Wicked Witch of the West. Ah, my pretties. I just can't remember the next line.
Yeah. It's a very masculine film. It's 4 male writers. The female characters in it, I mean, yeah, they're food, but they're still weirdly sexually objectified food.
Oh yeah.
Which is just a whole level of odd. That's that a bit. It's bawdy. Everything about it is. So it's not exactly a surprise that is the case. But yeah, it's not a good. This sounds so stupid. It's not a good representation of the sexes in a film about anthropomorphized food. I can't even speak.
Anthropomorphized food.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't push the boundaries of women's lib.
No, well, it's not a politically correct film in any way. That is the point. This is an anti-politically correct film. But where something like South Park gets away with that because it feels like it's actually quite smart, this didn't feel smart to me. Yeah, it had a message underneath, the sort of religion as a way of herding sheep and keeping society in order thing, but that was very broad and bludgeoned.
And then it challenged the religion, but it couldn't get over the fact that the food is still in a helpless situation.
Yeah.
So after the eventual killing of all the humans in that contained space, and then fucking everyone in a 5-minute scene, and then they all sit there, and you know that obviously the next humans that show up to the shop are just going to clean up, and all the food's going to die, or something bad. There's no way that they're going to live happily ever after. The film just sort of bails on its own idea because it doesn't.
Well, it's got no get out at that point.
Yeah.
There is no happy ending, which
There
is
can't
the
be.
kind of cruel thing
No.
that
But
Frank's
it's trying
trying
to-
to broadcast to
yeah,
everyone.
it's-
We're all fucked is kind of his message. You've just got to find a nice way of saying it. So
Yeah.
it goes into this meta sort of...
But it's trying to make the point that we should all wake up to the idea of religion being a lie, but then it has nowhere.
Nowhere for us to go.
Yeah, it has
go
nowhere
with
for
that, yeah.
its characters to go, but its
No.
characters are supposed to be a reflection of us and our situation and how we're being lied to by religion. But then where are we supposed to go? We're not food in a supermarket. We can do something other than all believe in the lie that is religion, which
Well,
is live happily ever after
Apparently
on
when
Earth.
when that collapses, all we do is get into an orgy of lust with each other out of
Yeah.
celebration or despair.
Isn't that how Greece fell? Ancient Greece?
I thought you meant Greece now. I thought that's a totally different economic situation.
Yeah, no, it's definitely ancient Greece. But yeah, okay, so... And then in the end, because the film doesn't know how to end itself, it just...
Becomes
What do they do?
self-aware.
Yeah, okay, so they
Which I
all...
didn't mind.
One of them creates a
Gun.
Stargate
Yeah.
machine out of a toilet seat, and then they all disappear into that. They all...
They all
Tell
go
each
to
other that-
meet
oh,
Seth
yeah.
Rogen.
Yeah, they discover that they're all actually a cartoon,
Yeah.
and and then they're all going to go meet their own actors. But then I thought it was going to do the Lego movie thing,
Yeah,
and
actually
then
come out and
have
do
the
something.
animated characters in the real world, and then Seth Rogen meets the sausage that he voices. But then where would that go? I guess they could kill them.
Just eat the sausage.
You could kill Seth Rogen.
It's an idea. It's a funny idea that doesn't have an ending, and as much
Yeah.
as they've tried, they've just
Yeah.
run out of thought.
Which, to be honest, if you've ever tried to write a film while
While
high,
stoned.
that is exactly what you do.
Yeah.
You come up with a bullshit cop-out ending. Yeah, that is why in the original ending to Clerks was the guy getting shot because
That's
he didn't
just
know how to end his
causes
film.
credits, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Also, American supermarkets in the world of Sausage Party don't have reduced to clear. You're just binned.
Yeah.
No,
You're
yeah,
just-
it's thrown out, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
there's no sort of area for last chance. It's just like, no, you're fucked. Into the bin of no base.
That is the least of its
Oh, that
problems,
is the
I
least.
feel.
But it's something that stuck with me
Yeah.
oddly.
Okay. Scores?
What are we? Are us Frankfurters out of something, or are we just going numbers again?
If I'd have thought of something before we started this, I feel like I could have come up
Glad
with
we've
it.
had 6 or 7 months to
Yeah.
prepare and be really refined
Yeah,
this time.
I really
around.
thought this time I was going to do loads of prep. I was going to come up with different segments.
No, we just got drunk, didn't we?
Yeah, we just got drunk down the pub, and then we did it hungover.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in with if you like a kind of stoner comedy, you'll really enjoy this movie. I mean, if like me, you don't like that normally, then fuck it, watch it. I enjoyed it. I don't know what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
3.5 out
Yeah?
out of whatever bracket you
5.
come up with. 5.
Well,
Well, it
what
makes a
if it's
massive
25?
difference.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
3
sticking-
out of 25. That's harsh.
Yeah. What?
No, it was the top 3. Yeah, 3 out.
3 out of 5.
3.5 maybe out of 5.
Three
I
out.
might come back down.
Okay.
Well, we are mirroring each other from the previous film because I'm going to go with a kind 1.
Wow.
A kind one.
A kind 1 out of 5. I
Mm.
just think it's shit. It's just worthless shit that shouldn't be made or seen.
Now, the Empire out of 5 scale, if I believe, 1 is poor, 3 is good, and 2 is average. Now, this film, I don't think it was quite poor, and I'm not sure it was good, but it definitely wasn't average. So it's a little tricky. But you know what, I'll go 3 actually, because I did enjoy it. I chuckled at some moments, and there were a few genuine, proper laughs. And you're right, the story ticked along with nice pace, and yeah, you could tell what was going on the whole time. And I wasn't bored actually.
Yeah.
I did think at certain times, oh, this is a bit much. I thought that a lot, but I was never bored.
I would just quickly step in with, I enjoyed both of these 2 movies far more than Jason Bloody Boy.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that
Don't
was so
watch
bad.
that
No.
Yeah, it's not good.
All right. Well, that's the end.
Well, we've done that,
That's the
didn't
end,
we?
yeah.
Love you.
Bye!